Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing another movie review. This movie is a horror film from the USA, English language, released in the year 2017, directed by Damien Leone, and this film is called Terrifier. So Terrifier is about these women on Halloween. They go out, they're drinking, they're having fun, but they stop at this little cafe. In this cafe they meet Art, the clown. Now this clown is mute and he is very, very strange. And so these women are really put off by this clown and they end up leaving. And then later they discover that Art the clown had actually murdered the owners of this cafe. And so they're absolutely beside themselves. They don't know what to do. And then they realise that their car tyre has been let down. So it's punctured and they're waiting for one of the girl's sisters to come and pick them up. And in the meantime, one of the ladies has to go to the bathroom. So she gets permission to go inside this very dilapidated apartment complex in order to go. And this is where they realise that they're at the mercy of Art the clown because he's followed them in. And now it's going to be a fight for survival. So whether or not these ladies can outlast this clown is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Terrifier. I didn't really have any expectations coming into this film, and basically the movie was exactly what I was expecting it to be. Now if you guys have seen All Hallows Eve, which is a anthology kind of horror film with this particular clown, this is kind of like a follow-up. This is kind of like the director saying, okay, I've created a really good horror villain, I'm going to actually make a straight-out movie. And so he has taken that same Art the clown that was the only good thing about All Hallows Eve, and unfortunately it's pretty much the only good thing about Terrifier. I thought this is a very ordinary horror film because it relies too much on cliches. Now I think that's a great shame, because the biggest disappointment coming in from this film was the fact that Art the clown is such a great villain. He is absolutely fantastic. He was creepy. The fact he was mute I thought was absolutely brilliant. And so I thought, alright, well this is a villain that really deserved a better film, is because apart from the villain, you've got some absolutely phenomenal gore. I thought the gore was really extreme, and I was actually quite surprised at how disgusting it got. And that's exactly what I actually wanted from a slasher type of film. You want great kills, you want gore that will really last in the memory, and this is exactly what Damien Leone actually creates, is a gore fest that really does shock viewers. And so if you are a fan of extreme gore, then I think Terrifier is definitely one for you. And I just thought that, okay, well, you've got the gore element that is fantastic, you've got an absolutely brilliant villain, but unfortunately nothing ever complements those two, and what it comes is a completely wasted opportunity. I thought that, okay, the start of the film was very creepy. You've got Art the clown who's just staring at these girls in a really weird way, and it's very, very unsettling, and I think it really set the mood absolutely brilliantly. And I thought All Hallows Eve had great atmosphere, and the build-up was very good, but unfortunately that was just lacking in execution as far as story is concerned. And that is basically, the directors carried the same problem over to Terrifier, is that, okay, you got this villain who's hunting and killing, but unfortunately that's all it is, hunting and killing. There's no real reason as to why this movie has been made, anything except just a gore demonstration, basically a demonstration tape on how to do gore effects and special effects. And so I thought that, okay, well, this is a movie that doesn't have any heart and soul, and unfortunately it does get very tiresome, and it does outstay its welcome well before the 80-odd minutes that it goes for. And so I thought that it was just quite tedious in parts. A lot of these scenes are repeated where Art the clown is looking for these girls, and so I thought, alright, well this has run out of ideas way too soon, and it really would have been better as a short film, just splashing great gore, and or maybe having someone else come on board who's actually, you know, created solid stories in order to give this horror villain the film that he really needs. And so I come away from this movie bitterly disappointed, because it did have the potential, but unfortunately it's just banking on the fact that it does have great gore effects, and so you can see past that. And unfortunately this is the case with a lot of extreme films. They rely on all the wrong things. There's very shallow, no real depth, and so the violence doesn't really hit you as hard as it really should. And I know it's a slasher, it's a fun slasher, and for the most part, you know, I can't really criticise it because it wasn't trying to be anything but I just thought, alright, well, for the runtime it just goes around in circles, around and around and around, and it doesn't really progress, it doesn't really snowball into anything. And I thought there's a lot of cliches, there's stuff that you've seen a million times before, and the ending I thought was really pedestrian. It really kind of killed a lot of what was going on. So it was a desperate attempt at the end to shock you, but it just doesn't work. It's because this is something we see too many times. And when you get people who are not horror fans, and they watch horror films and they say, oh, that was just garbage, how pathetic was that, the horror genre is crap. These are the types of films that give that impression. And so I just thought that this is a movie that I don't share the love. A lot of people loved it, and each to their own. You might have got something more out of it than I did. But for me, I just thought it was a very, very ordinary film, but which is disappointing because the villain is absolutely brilliant and the gore effects were great. It just needed a story to really capitalise upon. So overall, for Terrifier, not coming recommended, I'm going to give it 1 star. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.